No, I mean, I think it just shows, for me to do that, it takes a lot of other people too. And, the guys up front, didn't get sacked at all. Receivers, tight ends making plays. It was a great day for all of us. So I think it kind of reflects that more than anything. But, yeah, definitely, I mean, it's exciting. And we're on to next week now. That won't carry over, sadly. Those stats won't carry over this week. So.
How much did you practice today versus maybe last Wednesday?
About the same. Yep. I was out there, doing the team stuff and just kind of getting some mental reps, throwing a little bit. But yeah, try to work it up as we go throughout the week.
What happened at the end of the game the other day? We didn't see it until whatever, where Porter gets shoved and you're.
Oh, the last play. Yeah, I mean it's just football. I'm sure in their situation, not too happy with the way the game's gone, and then the last play kind of jacked up Luke. Right. I mean, everybody knows we're taking a knee. It's just like let's take a knee, go in the locker room, and he did that. So I was just trying to have his back too, the same way he would do if someone did that to me. Same way he would do for me. So, but no, I mean it's just football. That happens. I think probably every week team does that at the end on a victory kneel at the end. So.
Have you ever done this at a road game?
I don't know. It might be my first. So we were excited for sure.
Is this part of your growth and development that you're taking on? Maybe I don't want to say more of a leadership role because that's kind of cliche, but like waving by to visiting fans, sticking up for Fortner. What you've done in terms of talking trash to opponents a little bit.
It's more public.
Yeah. Maybe are you maybe just feeling much more comfortable in your role as the guy? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I think that's something throughout my career. There's times where that happens and that comes out, that competitive spirit. And I think it's definitely come out more this season than last year. And I'd say, yeah, comfort level, just the guys that I'm playing with. I mean, just have a blast out there. I love playing with those guys, especially the group up front. Just have a great relationship. We take care of each other. So that's where some of that comes in. And then I think there's been times, where we've needed a spark and things like that. And myself, along with other guys, have been able to give us that, whether it's on defense, on offense, whatever. I think we have a lot of guys that are able to find that. And I think guys kind of get behind that as well,
Are you able to do it, like maybe puff your chest out a little bit when you're playing at the level that you're playing?
I mean, it's not really about that for me. I think yeah, you don't want to look like an idiot when you're not playing well, and you don't want to. There's some things you got to be smart about. You got to be smart about how you act, and I wouldn't say it's just because I'm playing well, but I think just this point where we're at in the season, I mean these games are huge for us, and just having that edge, that intensity, being passionate about what we're doing. I think we're all getting more and more of that as the season goes. So it's not necessarily just about me playing well, and that's why it's happening. I think it's just where we're at, kind of what we need. We need a lot of juice, and I know everybody's excited. We're at a spot in our season where I think we're getting better every week. So yeah.
How much do you think the video that Doug put together about the history of the rivalry? How much did that give you guys juice this weekend?
I think it's good for a team that's. There's a lot of guys that have been here for a while, but we also have a lot of guys that are new this year. So, and even including myself, it's only my second year. So I think just to kind of see that throughout the years and what fans feel, that's where a lot of it starts is like the fans' kind of hatred towards one another, Tennessee and Jacksonville. And I think just to see that and like kind of what's happened through the years paints a brighter picture kind of for the guys who haven't been here or maybe only a year or so. You haven't been around that rivalry for years, and I think it kind of just helped paint that picture of what it is, and the kind of the mentality of both teams. So it was good.
How much did you know? Did that maybe incentivize you to give the wave?
I mean, maybe a little bit. I don't know. It just kind of happened, heat of the moment. It's just kind of the perfect opportunity. The way we were playing, we were all fired up, and I mean, you think about just how long it's been since Jacksonville's won there. So I just know that our fans and people that have been Jags fans for a long time, it was a big day, and like I said, though, you can't take it into this week. But yeah, it was a great day.
Now that you've had about 10 months to process what Doug has done in all aspects of his job, and if you can, just for you, I'm not asking you to speak for anybody else on the team, but just for you, putting aside the fact that this is a former NFL quarterback, what is it about him? What characteristic, whether it's game planning, temperament, approach on anything is it that you think makes him a quality head coach?
I mean, I think just not even talking about football, there's obviously he's a really, really smart offensive mind, and he played the position and great play caller, all those things. But just the way he carries himself, I've said that since, ever since he's been here. That's something that I've noticed, and it's just proven itself more and more, especially the way our season's gone. It's been up and down. We've had great moments, we've had really bad moments, and I think that's the one thing that we really needed was someone that's stable and just comes in every day. He's always the same, no matter what. We could have just won by 28 or just lost by whatever we lost to the Lions. And it's the same Monday morning. Obviously, people are pissed off, and we're not as happy around here after we get beat like that. But he doesn't change. The plan doesn't change. He never panics. And I think that just shows the confidence he has in us, and that's reciprocated in the way that we practice, the way that we prepare, all of that. So just the way he carries himself, I really have enjoyed just being around him every day, and obviously I'm around him a lot more because we have a lot of meetings, but he's been great.
But that's kind of what people say about you, too, that no matter good or bad
That's how I try to be. I think you have to be, especially this position and his position, being the head coach and the quarterback. I mean, I think that's a really important characteristic. You got to know who you're going to get every day. It can't be a different person, when things are going good or bad. So yeah.
Trevor, except for the plays that you changed, are you getting to have a rhythm with Doug as a play caller to the point where are you starting to anticipate what he calls, and or is he calling what you were thinking maybe?
Yeah, I mean, situationally, we talk a lot about obviously third down, red zone. Different stuff like that, and then you have a plan, to start each game, kind of which direction you're going to head the first few plays. So obviously that, but then third down, red zone, you're on the same page. We have our ideas of what we like, and we talk about, kind of the order we want. Obviously that can change based on the situation, so I can anticipate those. But as the game goes, I think more so, we have a huge menu of plays to run, so it's not like I always know what he's calling, but we're always on the same page in the situation and just the way we communicate, whatever situation is, hey, this is an opportunity to take a shot, or let's be smart, let's take a completion, keep the chains moving, whatever it is. He does a good job of kind of reminding me of some of those things, and now as it's gone more and more, he doesn't have to as much because we're on the same page. And I kind of know, like I've talked about with y'all, just field position, where we're at. There was a couple times the Tennessee game we ended up settling for field goals, but I think we were really smart about what we called, and then just my mindset of, okay, can I extend the play? Do I need to get out of my hands, take a completion? Throw it away. We got the field goal already. All those things, I think the more you've played together or played for someone, that kind of flows more naturally, and you know what to expect call-wise, and you know what they're expecting me to do. And there's just that trust of, because there's situations you see around the league, and then especially like college or wherever, where different situations are called differently based on who the quarterback is and the trust that they have in that guy. Like, do we trust him to make the right decision, or is he going to hold on to it and take a sack in this critical moment where we don't have any timeouts, or we're in field goal range and we could get knocked out of field goal range? So I think, they're showing a lot of trust in me, and I think that's where I've grown a lot as a player, is just understanding those situations. So I think that's been a cool thing for us to go through.
Doug said in an interview this week he thinks the London game, particularly that red zone turnover, was kind of a wake-up call for you, kind of your turning point. Is that kind of how you see it?
Yeah, I think there's been a few of those moments, really in my career so far. But I think at that point, I'll never forget how I felt in that locker room after the game. Obviously it wasn't a good day for me, and I really just felt like, it felt like that a couple times, but none more than after that game. Really felt like I let the team down. Should have won that game. I think we had lost 4. That was our 5th one in a row. So I never forgot how I felt in that locker room. I was like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I'm gonna 1, start taking care of the ball, but 2, I just want to be the player that I know I can be. And I think that kind of flipped a switch in me. And honestly too, I think I have a little bit more of a chip on my shoulder now, just because last year and a half, I don't really forget what's been said and what people have written. And now, you see people change their mind after a couple weeks, and but I remember everything, and I don't use that necessarily as my only fuel, but definitely use that. And I think that's something this team's done. We kind of remember what people were saying when we lost 5 in a row, and then we've won some big games now, and people kind of change their mind quick. So we just have that same mentality that we want to prove, how good we can be every week. And I think that's been the cool thing about this team.
And then Evan Ingram, I mean, just how big has he been for you guys the last couple of weeks?
He's been awesome the whole season. Honestly, I mean, that's what we've talked a lot about. He's one of my favorite teammates. Just the way he prepares, the way he works. I mean, I don't think there's a guy that practices harder than Evan. He'll take all the reps in practice, then he'll run 10, 12 routes after practice almost every day, and does some blocking drills too. So he works super hard, and just to see that pay off finally in the stats. Obviously there's a lot that he does that kind of goes unnoticed, and I think he's had a great year, and he's filled a role that we really needed. And just the matchups he's been able to create, and then even in the run game, he's a great blocker. And that hasn't necessarily showed up in the stat sheet every week, but for it to pay off, I know that feels good for him because he's a team guy, and I know that's not really what he cares about, but I know that feels good to have a game like that. And he's one of the only tight ends to have, I don't know what the stats were, but something crazy. So it was one of the best games by a tight end in a long time. So I'm happy for him, and he deserves it. So it was really cool.
We're going to talk about this being a meaningful game in December. Do you have a sense of the bigness of this moment?
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, where we're at in our season, I think it's we all understand how important this game is, and I mean every game's important, but especially with where we're at, and like we talked about a few weeks ago, kind of the situation we put ourselves in with some of those losses early. It's just where we're at, backs up against the wall, and we gotta fight our way out. And I think we got the perfect group to do it. So we understand how big this game is, and every game moving forward, this stretch is huge. So we got a great opportunity.
Little off football question. With the pandemic, you guys haven't been able to do as much community service maybe as you would like, but I know a ton of you guys did the shopping with the Jaguar last night. What did that mean to you to be a part of that?
Yeah, it was really cool. I think. As we've gotten, me and Marissa especially got more settled in, we've tried to do more in the community. And, we basically, a bunch of guys from the team donate money, and you go shopping with kids for Christmas, and they have a bunch of buses, drop the kids off. You hang out with them for, an hour or two and shop with them. And it was great just to see some of those kids, how appreciative they were of that. Even kids like getting stuff for their family members and stuff like that is really cool. And that's kind of what it's all about. So it was cool to be able to not just obviously donate for kids to buy presents, but just to hang out with them and, be around them and, do something that we don't really get to do a lot of. So it was cool.
Since I've had a couple people tweet and ask, the sweater you had on, is that like a Jaguar?
Sweater?
Yeah,
I was given that one. Special edition.
So it is a team. It's a special edition.
Yeah,
they
gave
on Twitter
out.
Have been asking.
Our crew did a good job. They gave out a bunch of sweaters for that event. The guys that were going to go Christmas shopping with the kids, they put a bunch in our lockers, and that was a special Jags one. So.
Where does Michael Parsons rank in terms of a guy you need to know where he's at before every snap?
Where's the top? Is it the top of the list? He's up there. So he's a great player. You just see his athleticism. I think he's one of the best pass rushers in the league. Just, week in and week out, the plays he makes, his pursuit, chasing down from the backside, all those things. He's a guy you always got to know where he's at. You got to have a plan for him because he's a guy that definitely can wreck a game if you don't plan for him. So. And even if you do, he's going to make plays. That's just, that's the nature of it. He's a great player. You do everything you can to stop him, but he's going to make a few plays. And, we've played good pass rushers this year, but he's up there with the best of who we've played. So, I know him going back to high school, so I'm excited to see him out there. Yeah. All right. Yep.
Beat him in high school.